Okay, greetings everyone. Now, let's say you're in a place like this, koyasan, and you're just having a nice stroll through one of the sacred areas, and you want to optimize your experience without doing a sit or doing a specific training exercise like a tree qigong, but you just want to enhance the enjoyment of a place like this. To do that, you simply surrender to the space. Those of you who trained with me who have trained methods to open the matrices, to increase psychic receptivity, to separate the layers of the mental, astral and vital bodies, relaxing the physical body, and creating a type of peak in your sensitivity to the environment. So for those of you who haven't had this type of training, simply relaxing your mental space out. And so you have your basic sense gates, what you feel, what you see, what you hear, and then let the mind extend out to what you see, extend out further to what you feel, extend out further to what you hear, and through those sense gates, relax your mind into the space. As you relax your mind into these larger spaces, there's an incredible amount of presence that you'll become sensitive to. And when you pay attention to that presence and release on it, the mind pays more attention to the release into something. You can release something out, or you can release your mind into something. And when your mind releases in to something, your entire experience becomes that thing. And there's a spiritual presence in a place like this where your mind gets overwhelmed by the presence, and you simply pay attention and surrender to it. Now, as you surrender to the presence of the environment you're in, then it begins to permeate not only your mental space, but your astral space, your physical space, your feelings, your body. All the sensations start to synchronize with that presence. Now, as it synchronizes, you're gonna find that your ability to surrender to it increases. It's like a momentum wave carrying through the mind, the feeling, and the body. And you ride that wave of surrender to the presence of the spiritual essence of the environment you're in. Now, as an example, I'm just walking through this space, but I'm surrendering to that space while I'm walking through it. So I'm allowing that presence to permeate the three bodies by just simply letting it in. So I want to relax it into the mind by paying attention to it. I want to invite it into my feeling by giving it space and surrendering to it. And I want to release it into my physical body as a physical chemical sensation. Now, each step that you take while you're doing this sense of connectivity increases. The depth of connection to that presence, the familiarity with it, gets stronger and stronger. So after 30 minutes, an hour of paying attention to the presence of the space, all you have to do is remember that presence, and that chemistry activates within your mental, astral, and physical space. And as it activates, you give it more attention. You might be back at the hotel, you might be staying at one of the temples here, and you remember the presence, you invite it back in, and it overwhelms your body again, and your consciousness and your experience. So once you hit that a critical mass of attention, that becomes a part of you. Now, if the opposite was true, where you walked through and you just did the tourist thing, oh, isn't that beautiful, take a snapshot here, and go from place to place, and just not really give it your attention, when you leave, you wouldn't take the presence with you. But if you give it your full attention, you surrender to that presence, you give it to the body, you let it permeate through how you feel, when you leave the space, you can take that with you, you can revisit it, you can re-access it, You may take a few pictures. Then when you look at the picture, you can remember the presence and invite that back into your consciousness and continue to experience it. So this ability to recall the presence of an environment really sets up your unconscious fabric of your mind. And you're going to have places like this that you remember for life. And they'll permeate the part of your mind that meditates for the rest of your life if you allow it to. You just invite it in. When you meditate, you invite the presence of the spiritual essence of this place in, and it'll be part of your meditation. And in times that it fits your meditation really well, then you encourage more. In times where it doesn't fit your meditation, or what you're doing will require more equanimity, you go past it into the stillness. Those of you who've done the Akasha work, you go into the Akasha of the presence and just invite it from underneath to the surface of your consciousness, through the layers of the physical, astral, mental bodies. And as you bring it up, you can increase the saturation of it or decrease according to your feeling and need, and continue to re-experience that spiritual presence. The ability to do this really comes down to one word: surrender. Surrender to what you feel. So you're walking, you feel the spiritual presence of the environment, you surrender to that presence, you open yourself to it, and it saturates the bodies. It's pretty much that simple. If the mind is thinking, it's in resistance to surrender. If the mind is stuck to feelings, judgments, to labeling, it's not surrendering. If you completely give yourself to what you feel, the feeling will amplify. And in this case, it's the spiritual presence of a sacred environment. And in the spiritual presence, huge amounts of information are stored within the trees, within these temples, in this environment, within the statues. And that information releases due to the laws of resonance. So let's say you're reading some Buddhist literature, and the literature has resonance with the energy and information you experience here. They synchronize, they connect, and you have, I understand that. Because it had already saturated your unconscious, and you needed something to consciously bring it to the surface. So places like this have an incredible amount of power and influence over your spiritual development because of the unconscious projection and transmission you receive simply by surrendering to the presence of the place. So huge value. So for those of you who aren't coming here to specifically sit and do meditation, but you just want to walk through a place like this, surrender to the presence of the environment, and it will give you blessings. Okay, thanks for your time. See you on the next video.